when I read the book, I already met these two. So I was reading it with them in mind, and that was very helpful. But then the book itself is very immersive, almost as if I've edited. Like it feels like she has the same rhythm, the same heartbeat as me as an editor. That was amazing experience. But it was when I turned the last page, and it said, "Remember me," and that hit me really hard because the reason to be a storyteller, to try to capture something you feel in a form that others can also experience, that desperation desire to do that is wanting to bring memories, not let them just go away. There's something about how difficult the impermanence of life is, and I can feel that tenderness both in Shakespeare working in that moment when I read that last page, and Maggie as well. And I have a feeling that that's going to resonate. I knew Jessie's work. I didn't know Paul's. And I was on my way to Telluride when the project came to me. I didn't really initially respond to the material. I haven't read the book, but I thought motherhood, Shakespeare, and period is so unfamiliar to me. And then when I get to Telluride, I met those two for the first time. And then for me, when the characters come to life into today's, breathing today's air, suddenly I feel like there's a connection to the past world, previous world, to today's world. Then maybe I could do something with that because it feels present once I met them.
I don't think it was like something that we both knew, did we?
No.
It was a kind of ongoing discovery, and even I would never decide what a character is until I've lived her, and I think it was an ongoing discovery as we were filming together. But I guess the thing that did happen early on, and we both kind of felt was right, was to really get to know what Agnes's spiritual language was, so that it could live beside this man of language, this specter of Will Shakespeare, that we all have such a deep relationship to who he was through his language, and that Agnes had her own kind of other version of what that was.
I think the book did a lot of work for me in that regard, that it totally shifts the perspective of what we expect around a Shakespearean story. Like, it places Agnes at the center of it. I think you still feel a pressure when you are, even if you're consciously trying to remove that, when you know that at a certain point in the film you're going to have to speak Shakespeare as the man himself. But I think I think the work that the script and Chloé and Jessie, it's kind of like, it sounds like a basic like acting note, but you're trying to find the human being underneath it. And I was very keen in terms of how we did even the chemistry tests. Like, the basic thing that I wanted to play against was kind of him as an academic. I think that informed the way that the words hopefully come out of his mouth, that it's kind of, there's like a bubbling kind of inherent masculinity and a real propulsion towards why he is saying it, which I'm very proud that the film at certain moments puts in the center of the film. The chemistry was a wild ride. It was just very incredibly enjoyable, incredibly intense.
I think as well, what you always hope to feel is like that kind of kinetic unknowability. We both know each other outside of work and also know each other's work, and I think Paul is one of the great actors, and I have just worked with so many amazing people, but the kind of unspoken connection was just so exciting. But I think we never really knew where we were going to go, and that the endless possibility of how we could hold that energy between each other was so thrilling. And from that very first chemistry read, that felt like it was just so alive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can't really shape that. That just is something that you nurture.
Yeah.
and that Chloé nurtured with us. Peace, Pen.
Well, I mean, I kind of mostly started off from the place that I really wanted to be there for Jessie, because she was going to go through an enormous journey, and very exposing and very powerful. And, you know, as an actor, when you witness that, it's, you know, you're uniquely placed to know what that costs, what it means, and how much it takes. But then, as soon as I started connecting with the project, obviously I know this one. We have history. I've played his mum before, so that was really just
Gorgeous.
lovely to be, just to get back in there.
Yeah.
But also, I have a lot of family connections to Shakespeare. I started out at the Royal Shakespeare Company. It's where I met my husband. Just so many things. So I feel, just to touch this story was the most tremendous honor for me, just as an actor, because my whole journey started with Shakespeare. And so just to rock up and be in the room and to see all this unfolding was one of the great pleasures of my creative life, really, really.
I think my favourite memory was probably when I think we were doing the scene where me and Olivia, who played Judith, were peeling the apples. We actually didn't know we were going to do the witches scene. And it was just a really nice surprise and we rehearsed it for ages in the garden to just do that. It was so fun. And Jessie didn't know until we did it. So it was so cool because it's her real reaction in the film, and it's the best. And that was probably one of my favourite days.
That was a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great day.
Yeah.
What did you learn about acting from being in this film?
I learned that acting isn't always something you can control. I think, especially in this job, sometimes it was just the vibe, like the atmosphere in the room it was so easy to just get into character and just become Hamnet in the film. And yeah, it was really helpful that I had everyone around me who was very supportive. Everyone here, really.